Devendra Yogendram Natva Jnana Pradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattva Bodho Bhidhiyate. So, this human birth which we have got is not easy to get. The Shastras say, Jantunam nar janma durlabham. Jantunam means out of all the living beings, nar janma, a human birth, is very difficult to get, durlabham. And obviously, we all have, we are here as humans, so it proves that we have done a lot of good actions in the past. Over so many janmas, we have collected so much of punya karmas. That is why we are a human being today, So such a precious life which we have got after so much of effort, over so many janmas, not one janma, so many janmas. That is the result that we have this human birth. And we cannot just let this birth go away. We can't fritter it away in living a life of artha and kama. That is, earn and enjoy, that's it. You wake up in the morning, same thing, Either some people just live to eat and eat to live or whatever, The first project is breakfast, then it is lunch, and then it is dinner. You wake up, dress up, go out, there's a routine, a mechanical routine everybody is following. They don't know the goal of life. I mean, the maximum goal they know is goal of a profession. That is not the goal, that's not the goal of life. We are talking about the goal of life here. This life has to have some meaning, that question only doesn't arrive in the minds of the people that, why am I here? What is the purpose of this? Wahi subah sham, we are getting up and doing something, take care of kids, go there and die and go away. Why? That question has to arise in the mind. That only doesn't arise. They're so content with this mechanical living, This is not what the life is meant for. Human birth is not meant for this. Human birth is like that treasure hunt, that game, treasure hunt. We all have played it when we were kids. There was some treasure hidden somewhere and we had to go and find it. In the game of life, the treasure is hidden within us. And this treasure is God. He is the source of all happiness. And we have Him within us. And we don't know we are chasing this world, So it would be such a sad state of affairs if one goes from here without having reached the goal of life. Instead of concentrating on this, people are chasing this ephemeral, illusionary world, This world is like mirage water. It can never ever quench anybody's thirst. It will keep us, we will be at it. We'll be chasing this world all the time, die and go away, So at least the people who have come here definitely have so much more punya karmas, because they are now on the track of the goal of life, not goal of profession, So instead of, wasting our time in all this, we have to concentrate on self-knowledge because we want moksha here. So Tattva Bodha is helping us, guiding us, giving us this self-knowledge. Now, the entire textbook of Tattva Bodha has got 5 topics. And the first topic, which we've finished, in fact, we're about to finish the second topic also. So the first topic tells us how to become an adhikari of this knowledge. Because only an adhikari will be able to assimilate this knowledge, The others, they may get some intellectual information, but in life they will continue to be samsaris. They will be living that same, having all the problems of life because the knowledge has not got assimilated. This needs, you have to become an adhikari for that. And who is an adhikari? An adhikari is that person who has got some inner sampatti, inner wealth, which is known as sadhan chatushte sampatti, And this sampatti we can get by living a certain way of life, the righteous, religious way of life. The religious way of life doesn't mean ringing bells, and going to that is not, it is the righteous way of life, which is the religious way of life. And that is told by Ved Purva, which is the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas, And the goal of life is spoken about in Vedanta. So the way of life and the goal of life are interconnected. Both influence each other. The way of life influences the goal of life, and the goal of life will influence the way of life. We will improve our way of life because that is my goal of life, So these two cannot be separated. So one has to take into account our way of life so that we can successfully accomplish the goal of life. These two have to be aligned. Just like a plant and the environment it grows in is interconnected. Any plant will not grow in any environment. It needs a particular environment. So we need a particular way of life here, And this way of life is, we can achieve, we can live when a person has good character. He has some good values in him, So this character of the person is the inner sampatti, which will make him follow the way of life, and the way of life will take him to the goal of life, So just like, we used to have the radio with two knobs, and with the first knob we would tune to the required frequency, and then with the second knob we'll fine tune to the station. Similarly, the way of life is going to tune us to the spiritual frequency, And then we need to fine tune ourselves by studying the scriptures to reach the goal of life, which is moksha. So this was the first topic about the adhikari in Tattva Bodha. And the second topic, after it told us all about adhikari, was about Atma Anatma Viveka. The most important topic in the text is the second topic, And this topic discloses a fact that every living being is made up of two components. The anatma, which is the material component, which is our body, mind, sense complex, and the spiritual component, which is the atma. And then the whole text starts with, it picks up the anatma topic first, because anatma is comprehensible. So it is easily understandable, So it talks about anatma first, and the first thing to explain us all this about anatma, it uses three prakriyas. You all must be knowing that now, The three prakriyas were Shariratraya prakriya, Panchakosha prakriya, and the Avasthatraya prakriya. So with these three prakriyas, we were made to understand that our anatma is inert in nature. This is not my real nature. It is inert. It is made up of matter. It is in the realm of time. It is mortal. And while it exists, it keeps on changing, So this anatma itself, our body, mind, sense complex, is three kinds of matter put together. We have studied this. Now you all must be knowing this, So it is gross, subtle, and causal matter put together makes our anatma. The gross matter makes our physical body. And the text tells us that this physical body is only an ayatana. It is only a tenement. It's just like an office through which me, the Atma, transacts with this world, Then the subtle body is the Sukshma Sharira of us, which is a bunch of 17 instruments which I use to transact with this body. It is these instruments of 17 instruments which I use to transact with this in this world. So these 17 instruments are what? These are 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, 5 Pranas, Man and Buddhi. All these 17 instruments I use so that I can transact in this world. And the causal matter is just, it is the cause of this Sthula and Sukshma Sharira. It has the Sthula and Sukshma Sharira in seed form. It is the cause of these two Shariras. So this Anatma, which I take myself to be, is actually unreal. It is inert. It is mortal. My real nature is Atma. Atma is the spiritual component. Atma is immortal. And since I am Atma, I was never born and I will never die. I am immortal. The body-mind-sense complex is born and it is going to die when the prarabdha karma gets over. I don't have anything to do with this body-mind. I am not this body-mind-sense complex, This is what the topic was, So after finishing the topic of Anatma, now the Guru is going to take up the topic of Atma. So if you remember, in the beginning there was a definition of Atma which had said that Atma is Sthul, Sukshma, Karan, Sharir, Vyatiriktaha, Panchakoshaha, Atita San, Avasthatraya Sakshi, Sachidananda Swarupaha San, Yat Tishtati Sa Atma. This was in the beginning we had studied, and I hope now you can at least appreciate the definition better because we've studied the three prakriyas. So in this definition, the text is using two methods which are given in the Shastras to explain us what is Atma. The two methods are called Tatastha Lakshana and Swarupa Lakshana. These two are given in the scriptures, and this definition is using these two methods. Tatastha Lakshana means a pointer, and Tatastha means Tat Asta. Tat is what? The river bank. Asta, it's you standing there. Asta, separate from the river bank. So when we are using something else to explain an object, then we use Tatastha Lakshana. And when we talk about the inherent qualities of that object, it is Swarupa Lakshana. It is its own Swarupa, it's its nature. So first, using the Tatastha Lakshana, like if we have to introduce a person, we can say that she is the daughter of Mr. So-and-so. Or we can say that she is that tall, slim, beautiful girl, So in the beginning, we are using somebody else's reference to talk about her. And the second, we are talking about her qualities itself, her attributes itself. So using the Tatastha Lakshana first, the definition of Atma was that Atma is Vyatiriktaha from Sthul, Sukshma and Karan Sharira. They used Anatma as a reference to talk about the Atma. So Atma is not my physical body, it is not my subtle body, it is not my Karan Sharira. Neti, na iti. In the Shastras they keep on saying, this is not me, this is... The whole study of the Shastra is, you have to know this half a sentence, that I am the Atma. If you know this much, your problems of the life are solved, you will become a Jivan Mukta, you will get Videha Mukti. Everything will happen by this one thing which you have to understand, that I am the Atma. So then I am not all these three Shariras. Then it says Panchakoshaha Atitaha San. Atitaha is beyond. I am beyond the Panchakoshas, and Panchakoshas are only when the three Shariras are analyzed as per our experience of our layers of personality, they are called Panchakoshas. So I am not the Annamaya Kosha, I am not the Pranamaya Kosha, I am not the Manomaya Kosha, I am not the Vijnanmaya Kosha, and I am not the Anandamaya Kosha. So I am not my physical personality, I am not my physiological personality, I am not my emotional personality, I am not my intellectual personality, I am also not my happy personality. Whenever I am very happy, that is also not my personality. So, neti, naiti, I am not all this, Then it says that Atma is Sakshi of these three states, It is Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti Avastha. The Atma is Sakshi, the witness of these. Avasthatraya Sakshi. It is the witness. The three states the anatma is going through, atma is not going through these three states. All the three states we experience daily, the body mind sense complex is going through it. Atma is the witness of that, So it is naiti. So all these three are the three prakriyas which were used, they're only talking about anatma, and I am none of these. Then he uses the Swarup Lakshana, and he says, Sat Chit Ananda Swarupaha Yatishtati Sa Atma. The Swarupa, the nature of Atma is Sat, Chit and Ananda. Not Atma, it is my nature. We have to convert this Atma into I. This is the whole process, So now he's going to talk about it, but before that, in continuation with our topic of Panchakoshas, the Guru gives a logical method to help us disidentify from these Panchakoshas. So we will read that first. Madhyam Shariram Madhyaha Pranaha Madhyam Manascha Madhya Buddhihi Madhyam Jnanam Ajnanam Iti Svenaiva Gyayate Tad Yatha Madhyatvena Gyatam Katak Kundala Grahadikam Swasmad Bhinnam Tatha Panchakoshadikam Madhiyatvena Gyatam Atma na bhavati. Now again here, to help us disidentify from these Panchakoshas, there are two methods which are given in the Shastras, which the text is using. The first method is Aham and Idam. Aham means I. Idam is something which is in front of me, which I am experiencing, which is other than me. Idam, this is in front of me, which I am experiencing. The second is Aham and Mama. Aham is I and Mama is mine, something which is mine. And something which is mine also has to be Idam, because it is mine, it belongs to me, So everything which is mine has to be Idam, but every Idam doesn't have to be Mama. It is not mine, So there are few things, there are lots of things in this world which are Idam, I see them in front of me, but all the things are not mine. Out of that, few things are mine, Mama. So this Aham and Mama, this method is used indirectly here. The text doesn't talk about it, but indirectly they are putting this in this paragraph which is being spoken about over here. So using this, he says, Yatha, just as, Madhiyatvena, mine, Gyatam, known as, Kataka Kundala Grahadikam. Katak means bangle, Kundala means earrings, Graham is my house, Adi is etc. All the things which belong to me. Swasmad Bhinnam, they are different from me. They are not me, they are not Aham, they are Mama, So just as these are mine, I know them as mine. Idam, Graham, Mama. This is my house, I own this house. This is not Aham, this is not me. And when it comes to the objects of the world, we are very clear that this is all Idam, But when it comes to my own body, mind, sense complex, there the problem comes. That is why this example is being used, So the Guru is saying, just as all these things are mine, similarly the Panchakoshas, they are mine, they are Idam, Mama. Because we ourselves are saying that, my head is paining. When I go to the doctor, we say, my stomach is paining. This is wrong with my legs. This is wrong with my hands. We are using the word my. But yet we take it as I, because we are making this mistake because we are in the grip of the Shakti of Maya. Maya doesn't want us to get out of this rat race, and this cycle of birth and death. It will see to it that I continue this cycle, you know. Only we with our effort, with knowledge, have to get out from the grip of Maya, you know. And Maya helps later. Maya is avidya Maya and vidya Maya. Vidya also Maya is going to give. But you first stand, you know, have the guts to, you know, follow this path and get this knowledge. Nobody sticks around in Vedanta for very long because it's too technical, and you know, where the religious stuff, stories are being spoken about and little motivation, dharma is being spoken about. There they go. Not Vedanta. Vedanta is a little technical. You have to use your brains, you have to use your logic, you know, and apply this in your life. So using this, he says, Madhyam Shariram. This body is my body. We are saying that also, my physical body, you know, but yet we take it as I. So all the properties of the body, like the body is tall, short, fat, thin, old, young, whatever, these properties belong to the body. And the body is mine for sure, but it is not I. If I can disidentify from this body, so much of our problems in the life are going to get solved, you know. And of course, by this we are moving towards our goal of moksha. As we start disidentifying from our body, mind, sense complex, we are reaching our goal of moksha, you know. So as long as my buddhi knows that this is mama, it's not aham, you know, then there is no problem when you talk to this people in the world, do vyavahara. It's called vyavahara when we interact with this world. That time if you say I'm tall, I'm thin, I'm fat, that is okay. But our own buddhi has to know that. Once my buddhi knows it, problem is solved. The entire knowledge is not meant for anybody else, not to show to anybody else. It is not meant for us to do anything else. Just my buddhi has to have this knowledge. Just I have to know that I am the Atma. I know, and the problems of this life are solved, you know. So he says similarly, Madhyam Pranaha, my Pranaha. I am not the pranas, you know. The hunger, the thirst, the illness, the health, it belongs to this physiological layer of my personality, you know. So this is not this is not me, this is mine. Then he says, Madhyam Manaha. My mind, it is my mind, and we are saying it also all the time, my mind, but then everything which goes on in the mind, we take it as I, and then we suffer, you know. Then he says, Madhyam Buddhihi, the traits of the Buddhi belong to the Buddhi, that's not me. And Madhyam Ajnanam, the self-ignorance which I have, which is present in the causal body, belongs to that Annamaya Kosha, to the Karan Sharira. It is not me. So this is the discrimination, this is the viveka we have to have. Just like all this stuff outside is mine, whatever is mine here, similarly, these Panchakoshas are mine. I possess these Panchakoshas. They are my possessions. And if I don't know that, then I'm going to get possessed by these Panchakoshas, you know. And if I get possessed, you know who's possessed? The person who gets possessed by a spirit and a ghost, you know, he's possessed. Similarly, these Panchakosha is going to possess us then after that, you know. And then anything goes wrong with the Panchakoshas, then I'm so scared and there's so much of anxiety. The biggest fear over here in this world is fear of death. You know, that is why when somebody is very scared, we say he's mortally afraid, because this is the highest fear everybody has, you know. And as we come closer to that, in old age, this fear increases, you know. The physical body is subject to 6 kind of modifications. We've studied that. Asti, jayate, vardhate, viprinamate, apakshiyate, vinashyati. You know, it's going to go through these. And if I am disidentified from it, I'm not going to have any problems. I already know that this is the condition of the body. I'm separate from the body, and the body has to go through this. If we are disidentified, then when the time comes to go, very happily with a thank you, we will give it back to Bhagwan, you know, that thank you so much for having given me this body, mind, sense complex. I lived with this, and if I can reach this goal of moksha, you know, then there is nothing more one has to have. We did what we had to do with this body. We got everything in the world, and I got the self-knowledge, So very happily we will give it away to, at the time of death. We'll have no problems. But if we are identified with this, see those people who are suffering at the time of death, most of it is the fear that I'm going. That is where the main fear is, So the Guru says, this is all not me, swasmat bhinnam, atma na bhavati. The panchakoshas, this is not atman, this is not me. I am immortal, I was never born, I will never die. The body, mind, sense complex is born and it's going to die. So with this, I have to practice this, I have to get this in my mind, use this logic and disidentify from the panchakoshas, Then he starts the topic of Atma, which we are going to read. Atma tarahi kaha Satchidanandaha swarupaha. I will just read up the whole thing. Sat kim kalatraye api tishtati iti sat. Chit kim jnana swarupaha. Anandaha kaha sukh swarupaha. Do you have the next sentence? Evam? You have? It's not here. Evam Satchidananda Swarupam Swatmanam Vijaniyat. So, picking up the topic of Atma, the student asked then, because all this time it was all an Atma. So he says, Atma tarahi kaha. Tarahi means then what is Atma? So Guru says, Satchidananda Swarupa. Its Swarupa is Sat, Chit and Ananda. So to that, the next question is Sat Kim? What is this Sat? And the answer is Kala Traye Api Tishtati iti Sat. Kala means time, Traya means three, Tishtati means that which exists. That which exists in the three periods of time is called Sat. And three periods of time are what? Past, present and future. So that which exists in past, present and future is my own nature called Sat in the Atma. The Atma Swarupa, one of the first natures is Sat. So Atma is Kala Titaha. It is beyond time. Time also comes and goes, but consciousness is present all the time. Atma is present all the time. There is no time in deep sleep state. There is no time in deep sleep state. In deep sleep state, there is no space, there is no time, and there are no objects. For the objects to be present, space is required. Can you imagine an object without space? No, it's not possible. For the objects to exist, space is required, and these objects change in time. So time is required. For the creation, space, time, and objects make the creation. And in deep sleep state, we do not have any time, But the consciousness is very much present. It is revealing the absence of everything, which we recall when we wake up. We know that, I didn't experience anything, So consciousness, Atma, which first nature of it is Sat, is Kala Titaha. It is beyond time. Another word which is used for Sat in the scriptures is Satyam. Satyam also means the absolute reality, and absolute reality as per the scriptures is that which always exists. Anything which always exists is Satyam as per the scriptures, and that which is not always existing in past, present and future is Asatyam. It is unreal. So another definition of Sat in the other text of Vedanta is Abadhitam Satyam. Badhitam means that which can be negated, and Abadhitam is that which can never be negated. And negation is what? Negation is when I can disidentify from something, or I can turn my attention away from something. That object is supposed to be negatable. So my physical body, the moment I go into Swapna Avastha, I have negated it. I don't know anything about my physical body in Swapna Avastha. Where it's lying, what is it, I have no clue about that. So this is negatable. Then when we go to Sushupti Avastha, in the deep sleep, the mind has got negated. And even in the Jagrat Avastha, whenever I am really absorbed in any subject, I have no idea about what's going on with the physical body. I have negated the physical body at that time. Sometimes we get so tired, but we don't come to know when we are working, when we are absorbed. A person who has worked to that extent knows what this means. You can get so absorbed in your work that you have no clue about what's happening with the physical body. You have negated it. And also our thoughts. We can negate our thoughts anytime. Even halfway through the thought, we can turn our attention away from the thought. It's negatable. So Atma is negatable. Body is negatable. The mind is negatable. And anything which is negatable is asatyam. It is not my reality. Because one is that it doesn't exist in all three periods of time. And the other is I can turn my attention away from this, So anatma, this body is born at a particular time, and while it exists, it goes on changing, and then in the end, it resolves back to the Panch Mahabhutas. That is why when someone dies, they'll say, no, wo Panch Tattva mein leen ho gaye, because udari se aaye the, udari chale jana hai. So this is in a certain period of time, But that's not me. I am existing. Atma always was, always is, and always will be. It exists in all three periods of time. Just like in the clay pot example, and the Shastras, this example is really used, The pot is not always there and will not always be there. Because only a nama rupa of clay, But the clay, when the pot did not come in existence, the clay was very much there. When the pot comes into existence, the clay is there. And when the pot gets destroyed, the clay is very much present there. So in this relative sense, the clay is satyam and the pot is asatyam. So I am conscious of my past. When I think of the past, I'm conscious of it. In the present, I'm conscious. And when I think of the future, I'm conscious. Consciousness is present in all the three periods of time. So my first swarupa, my nature, which is Atma, is Sat. I am Sat, So because I exist in all three periods of time. Then he says, Chit Kim. What is Chit? And he says, Jnana Swarupa. Jnana is what? Jnana is consciousness, awareness. It is life itself, because only when I'm alive can I be conscious of anything, can I get jnana about anything, So jnana swarupa means consciousness, All this, information only the Shastras can give us. Science has never reached there and can never reach there, because all this cannot be proven. There is no way all this can be proven. All this knowledge can only come from the Shastras, So the Shastras telling us that Anatma doesn't have its own jnana, it doesn't have its own consciousness, Yes, I'm experiencing it as alive and conscious because it is made up of such a composition that it can borrow consciousness from the Atma. Actually, it is the composition of Sukshma Sharira, which is such that it can borrow consciousness directly from the Atma, and because the Sukshma Sharira pervades every cell of the Sthul Sharira, so Sthul Sharira also becomes alive. This is the secret, And at the time of death, when Sukshma Sharira departs, it leaves the Sthul Sharira, then Sthul Sharira is lying there as dead matter, And if you don't dispose it off soon, it will start rotting, Because it doesn't have life of its own. It was alive on borrowed consciousness, And the constituents, the composition of Sthula Sharira is such that it cannot directly borrow consciousness from the Atma. It has to be via Sukshma Sharira only, because Sukshma Sharira is composed of such material, apanchikrat, Panch Mahabhutas, So only that can borrow. So just like, our this mobile is made up of such unique components that these waves which are present in the atmosphere is tapping, audio, visual, internet waves, it's tapping it because it is made of such components. Similarly, our body, mind, sense complex is an instrument. It is made of such components that it can borrow the consciousness from the Atma. And main is the Sukshma Sharira which is borrowing it, So the Shastra is telling us some facts, It says that the consciousness is not a part of the body, mind, sense complex. It is not the property of body, mind, sense complex. It is also not a product of this body, mind, sense complex. One of the hypotheses of science is that consciousness is an epiphenomenon of matter, which means that when the matter mixes up in a certain proportion, consciousness is produced. That's what science says. One of the theories, that's all. They haven't been able to prove anything. So it is just one of the theories, which is not correct. The truth only the Shastras can give us, And then the Shastras say that consciousness is an independent principle. It is present independently. It is not dependent principle. Satyam and Mithya we had studied. The body, mind, sense complex is Mithya, but the consciousness is Satyam. So Satyam, this is, it is an independent principle. It pervades the body, mind, sense complex and it enlivens it, Just like, the moonlight is not a part of the moon. It is not a property of the moon. It is not even the product of the moon. Moon doesn't have any light. It is only reflecting the sunlight, And because science has proven this, so we believe it, Similarly, the Atma, this, it is, pervading the body, mind, sense complex, and this doesn't belong to the Anatma. Consciousness doesn't belong to the Anatma. Then it says that the consciousness is limitless. It is all pervading. But it is compared to Akash. It is said Akashvat, Vyomavad, We've read these examples. These examples are the closest example one can give for consciousness, so they are used. But Akash is only a Panch Mahabhuta, so it is in any case limited because it is not the other Mahabhuta, so it is limited, And this Akash is not present in the deep sleep state. There is no space in deep sleep state, so it is limited. So the entire creation is present in consciousness, as per the Shastras, And then when the body, mind, sense complex dies, the consciousness is always existing because it is present in all three periods of time. But it cannot manifest because the medium of manifestation is gone, The consciousness needs a medium to manifest. And the medium is this body, mind, sense complex, So all this information is only from the Shastra. He's saying that I am this consciousness. My own nature is Jnana Swarupa because I am conscious of this world. I am conscious of my body. I am conscious of the thoughts going on in my mind. I am conscious of the traits of my intellect. I am conscious of my ignorance and knowledge, which is present in Karan Sharira or even in my intellect, because I know what I know and I know what I don't know. If somebody asks me, do you know English? Yes, I know that I know English. Do you know Chinese? No, because I know that I don't know Chinese. So I know what I know and I know what I don't know. And I also know that what I don't know, I can know if I want to know. So all this knowing is possible because of what? Because of consciousness. It is my Swarupa. So the first Swarupa is what? Sat. I am Sat. Second is, I am Chit. I am present in all three periods of time, and I am consciousness itself. So these are my two Swarupas. Then the third Swarupa he says is Anandaha Kaha. And the answer to that is, he says, Sukh Swarupaha. I am of the nature of Ananda. I am of the nature of peace and happiness. Can you believe that? People are chasing this world for happiness. And the scriptures are saying, you are of the nature of happiness, It is not that happiness, yay, people go, out of excitement. That excitement is not happiness. This is the peace that passeth all understanding. You have to know to believe it, what peace they are talking about. It is peace which the world doesn't have, but you have it. Imagine we don't know this. We are chasing this world for happiness, for Ananda, So the word Ananda actually means Anantaha. Anantaha means that which doesn't have Antaha. It is Anantaha. It is limitlessness, where there is no sense of limitation, there is no sense of lack. It is completeness, it is fullness. Whenever I am Anantaha, whenever I do not have any sense of lack, whenever I don't have any sense of limitation, I am experiencing Anandaha. It's a huge thing to understand, And whenever I have a sense of lack, whenever there is a sense of limitation in me, I will experience sorrow here. So this happiness and sorrow has to be understood, because all that we are doing in life is to get happiness and to avoid sorrow. And this only the Shastras can explain us. Nobody else, science, forget it, they can't explain anything, This, the Shastra is telling us, So in the deep sleep state, I'm experiencing Ananda, Why? Because there is no sense of limitation there. The limitation belongs to the body-mind sense complex, and in deep sleep state, I am disidentified from the body-mind sense complex. I am Anantaha at that time, and so I am experiencing Anandaha there, Even in the Jagrat Avastha, there are moments when I experience happiness, And this secret to this is given by the Shastras, So what is happening? Even in those moments, I am Anantaha. I do not have any sense of limitation in that moment. In the Jagrat Avastha, they are momentary, the happiness is momentary, So what is happening at that time? I, the subject, and the object of my desire, I have got that object of my desire, Like there is some fulfillment of desire, there's some accomplishment in the world, there is some gratification also, be it sensual, be it emotional, be it intellectual. In that particular moment, because of the fusion of the subject and object, this sense of limitation is gone. There is no deficiency at that time. I am limitless for that moment, and that is where I'm experiencing happiness, So here in this world, if you know, you have to actually observe this fact, that some object of the world which gives me happiness at one time doesn't necessarily give me happiness at another time. When that cup of tea or coffee which I have early in the morning, it gives me a lot of happiness. But if somebody wakes me up and says, drink this cup of coffee, that doesn't give me happiness, because I was enjoying my deep sleep, and this is not giving me happiness now, My children at home give me happiness, but when these children come to my office where I'm very busy in a meeting, they don't give me happiness, So the objects of the world do not give me happiness, the same object at different times. They don't give me happiness. Then one object doesn't give happiness to everyone. This, the same happiness everybody is not experiencing. On a dining table, one member of the family is very happy to see one dish, and another member of the same family can't stand that dish, is giving him unhappiness. There could be that karela on the table, one person can't stand it, and the other person munching it happily and enjoying that karela. So the happiness or unhappiness is not in the karela. So this happiness doesn't belong, to the, everybody doesn't get the same kind of happiness. A teenager must be, he's jumping with joy when he's hearing rock music. The mother who loves classical music is standing with, she's closed her ears and she's standing, can't stand that music, So, two things here. One is, all the objects do not give happiness to everyone, and the same object doesn't give me happiness at a different time, So the scriptures are telling me that the objects, there is no object in this world called happiness. No object inherently has happiness in it, or even it doesn't have a property called happiness. If there was some object called happiness, then we would all make a beeline for it. Even if we had to stand for two days, we'll go and stand there because I want happiness. We all want happiness, at the COVID time when those liquor shops opened, oh my God, what queues, they're actually dancing there. It was because that is the source of happiness, So if there was some object like that, then we all would go and get it. But unfortunately, there is no object in the world called happiness. These objects of the world, they are all anatma, And our body-mind sense complex also doesn't have inherent happiness. This is also anatma. If you think the body is giving happiness, then we just have to wait for a few more years and we come to know what this body is going to tell us, If you think the mind is the source of happiness, you just have to look around. There are so many people who are drowning the sorrows of their mind with alcohol and drugs all the time because this mind has become such a burden for them. Ashantasya manobharaha. It is a burden they are carrying all over. So mind is not the source of happiness. It doesn't inherently have happiness of its own, So that is anatma, the objects of the world anatma. This is anatma. So anatma doesn't have any happiness of its own. This is not the source of happiness. Na alpe sukham asti. Alpe is limited, anything limited. Sukham nasti. There's no happiness in anything which is limited, and anatma is limited, So then what is the source of happiness? So the scriptures only can give us this answer, and they say the only source of happiness in this world is Atma. Atma is the source of all happiness, and I am Atma. So then how come I'm experiencing happiness when I don't know anything about Atma, but I experience happiness, So then they give us the secret that, in moments, whenever my mind becomes calm, it could be because of an internal reason like a good memory coming in my mind, or because of the external factors. Some desires got fulfilled, some accomplishment has happened, or even I could be just awestruck by the beauty of nature. The sunrise and the sunset are so beautiful, people just gaze at it. At that moment, the mind is calm. You look at the full moon, it is so beautiful that when we look at it, we are just awestruck, Look at the vastness of the ocean. When you stand on the, ocean, on the beach, we just awestruck looking at that ocean, Go to a forest and see the beautiful trees, You're going to be awestruck by the beauty of that. Even just the blue sky is so beautiful. What a color, what selection, of colors. The green leaves and the blue sky and all the colorful birds flying all around. So whenever we are in nature, we are awestruck, and at that time, our mind becomes calm. And in the calm mind, the ananda of the Atma gets reflected. Atma Nanda gets reflected in the mind. Just like consciousness gets reflected in the mind, similarly, happiness gets reflected in the mind. So happiness actually belongs to me, and the objects of the world are only a means to make my mind calm, and I think that that object is giving me happiness. So I chase this world. People go on a world tour because they're getting happiness out of the world, looking at the world. What is the world doing? Only making my mind quiet, and my own ananda is getting reflected here. So a bhogi gets happiness chasing this world. Who's a bhogi? One who indulges in bhog. Bhog is eating nice things, wearing nice clothes, and watching nice things. That is a bhogi. So a bhogi gets happiness out of chasing this world. A yogi gets happiness by manipulating his mind. All the time he's trying to go into samadhi because he wants that state of mind, which gives that ecstasy, that happiness which comes. Samadhi, nirvikalpa samadhi is the highest thing in this samsara, So that yogi is busy doing that only. And a jnani doesn't have to do anything because he knows I am Ananda. I don't have to chase this world or manipulate my mind to get Ananda. I am Ananda myself. I give Ananda to everybody. I don't get Ananda from anyone. I don't need Ananda from anything in this world because I am Ananda. It is like, the whole kingdom is mine. Then in that kingdom I won't go and buy few acres of land, no, because it's mine. Ananda is my nature. So this is my nature. It's such a huge secret and something which has to be understood, which will change your life, because everybody is chasing Ananda. Everybody wants happiness, Then another very important thing to understand is that happiness is only unconditionally loved by all of us. Only one thing we love unconditionally is happiness. And we only love ourselves unconditionally. Any other love here in this world is conditional. Please note that fact. It is not unconditional love. And the condition is that that object or that person must be favorable to me. The day that object becomes unfavorable, the love vanishes, We may put up with that person out of sense of duty and all that, but there's no love there because that object has become unfavorable to me, So I only love myself unconditionally. I don't love anybody else here. Every other love is conditional love, Then I can't stand unhappiness. Unhappiness is like a foreign particle, when something foreign gets into my eyes or into my ears, how I want to get rid of it. Similarly, unhappiness we want to get rid of. We are not comfortable being unhappy, but we are so comfortable being happy. So we can only be comfortable with our own nature. We cannot be comfortable with anything foreign, anything external. We can never be comfortable with. Please know that, So all this proves that I am the source of Ananda. I love myself, and then I love only happiness, and I can't stand unhappiness. I am comfortable only with myself when I am happy. So this proves what? That I am Ananda. The source of happiness is me, So then the Guru says, Evam, in this manner, Swatmanam, yourself, myself, Sachidananda Swarupam Vijaniyat. Please know yourself as Sat, Chit and Ananda. I am Sat because I exist in all three periods of time. I am immortal. I was never born and I am never going to die. I am of the nature of consciousness. I am Jnana Swarupa, because of which I am conscious of everything here. And I only am Ananda Swarupa. There is no Ananda in this world. I am Ananda. The day we come to know this, all the problems of the life are going to get solved. We will never depend on anybody else for happiness. We will be independent for happiness. For everything else here in this life, we want to become independent. I want to have my own car, I want to be independent. I want to have my own house, I want to be independent, But for happiness, we are dependent on everybody here. And the moment we become dependent, then the person is going to put up his price, there will be emotional blackmailing happening there. Also, this I did this for you and you'd better do this for you. But I can't do without that person because that's the source of my happiness. And I want only happiness in this life, I'm looking for only happiness. So the day I come to know that, okay, someone's saying, go, please go. Because I'm not dependent on you. You can go wherever you want to. So people may put up their price, okay, bye-bye. We'll happily say farewell to anybody here if I come to know that I am the source of happiness. That is all we are looking out for in this world, So knowing this is what the Guru says, that I am Satchitananda. With this, the topic of Atma also finishes. And also our second topic of Tattva Bodha, Atma Anatma Vivek also finishes. So we finished 2 topics of Tattva Bodha. Then from next class onwards, we will be starting a very interesting topic, which is of creation. That we'll start from the next class. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.